Hi, this is our CSE564 final group project. Our topic is on the visual analysis of the Bitcoin peer-to-peer network. Quick overview of our dashboard. We have a map featuring the geographic location of each node by their latitude and longitude. We have a parallel coordinate plot to represent all the multi-derivative data, and the stat bar chart, a pie chart for the node proportional to their continent, and two stat bar chart for organization and their user agent. Over in the middle, we have a list of legends. They are actually shared across all the different components, while the yellow representing Europe, North America, and all different continents. And there's actually a Tor network, which stands for Anonymous Network, and then we'll get to it and explain it what that means. So let's start with our map. If we just quickly brush over the map, we will see that all the nodes will be highlighted by a black outline. And then now we can actually zoom to different part of the components. We can see that in the star bar chart, the Amazon and other player are the largest corporation, and the currently node we're selecting can be found on the top right corner. We actually select around 2000, so North America actually have home to pretty big good number of nodes, and you can see that people are also running the latest user agents. And if we just shift our windows to to the the Europe side, we can see that the largest corporation is now Herzer Online. It's not Amazon anymore. And then people are also running in the latest version, and surprisingly, they actually account for more nodes. Look, there's almost 3,000 nodes over here. And one of the interesting feature we would like to highlight is the Tor that we just mentioned before is over here, where the longitude and latitude is 0, which don't make any sense, but because they are anonymous, so we don't know their exact location anyway. Now, if we just look at the network, they actually account for almost 10% of the entire peer-to-peer network we spotted, and hopefully for good reason, they were and legal reason, they were mining the node doing legally or something. So and they were mostly unknown organization and Tor node, which they are actually basically people don't know their identity or anything. And for our stat bar chart, the color were also representing it's actually proportional to number of nodes by each different continent. If we just hover over Amazon, for example, now all the map are being updated. We can see that the bar is also being highlighted by its decreased opacity, and we can see that Amazon is actually a quiet international player. Actually operates 600, almost 700 nodes, almost 10% of the network people were running on. So it's actually quite interesting, and it's more really interesting that it's actually operate across many different continents. However, we can also see by different player like Herzer Online. In fact, you only operate in US, but you also, in Europe, but also account for quite a sizable amount of nodes. And if we look in our home back in US, if you're looking for a local player, Comcast is actually account for good size of them. Comcast is the US player that only operated in US. They don't really operate in other places like some other cross multinational like Google or Amazon. And now we can actually move to our pie chart. It can actually give you a really good sense that how many nodes are in different continents. Now, if we just let's say if we hover over the Europe side, we can also see the largest corporation in Europe are without doubt Herzer Online, without doubt, and if we just look now, if you go to the look at the top right corner, the Europe almost account for 3,000, 3,600, basically almost half of the entire network. Now we can also see our home back into the North America, and we can see that North America also account for a quite good size amount of network, and with the Amazon leading the way. And although you can see Amazon only are responsible for 200 nodes here, because those are only accounting for Amazon. That's only based in US. Basically, the Amazon node that's only operating in US. Now we can also move over to the users, the stack bar chart for the user agent. Now you can see that in fact it's actually there's no much difference. So we can know that most of the if we just look at the before and after on the continent side, we actually don't see much difference. In fact, they are almost identical, which means that's actually a really good indication that most of the nodes on the network are pretty diligent. They all move to the latest mining user agent for a good number of reasons, and they also account for people were and the nodes that were running on the latest version of the Satoshi mining algorithm user agent almost account for like a third of the entire all the nodes or entire map, which is quite interesting. And then now we can move to the interaction of our parallel coordinate. We also feature axis reordering. And something we would really like to spot is the for example, if we really want to look at the southern hemisphere, since we're mostly talking about the northern hemisphere, like the US and Europe. If we just brush over the thing and then we only want to know the latitude a little bit above below zero, basically now we feature all the southern hemisphere. Now we can see that things change a lot. But look at it. Amazon and Google, they are still the leading player because they are actually in the southern hemisphere. Amazon is still the leading player. They actually operate a lot of the nodes in places like um, Australia, South America, and part of Africa, and Google too. That's actually quite interesting. The and no surprisingly, the proportion are dominated by Australia, since I would say so. Australia is the richest country in the southern hemisphere. However, look, if we just look at how much snow are there, they only account for around like a little less than 5% of the entire network. So people in the southern hemisphere don't really mind much. And similarly, people are all running in the latest version of the Satoshi network, and that's that's pretty interesting. However, if we just look at the local player, such as the TPG Telecom, those are Australia based. Those are two Australia based mining cloud based cloud based Bitcoin node organization for hosting Bitcoin nodes, and that's pretty interesting too. And this is all our finding for the Bitcoin network, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much.